Now, as we add more and more posts to our blog, what we'll want to do is allow our users to search through those. So in this video, we're going to have a look at how we add searching with Total CMS. So let's go to RapidWeaver. I've got our project open. I'm going to add a new page, and it's going to be a stacks page. I'm going to call this page search. And in the general settings, I'm going to uncheck the show in navigation option. And then I'm going to change the folder name to be search and set the file name to index.php. Then what we want to do is set up the page with the navigation and global styling. So go to your partials tab and add the site styles. And I'm just going to hide that so we've got a bit of space. Now all the search page is a list of blog posts returned from the search query. So what we're going to do is add a blog list stack from the Total CMS. So we'll go down here, we'll go to the Total CMS content stacks, and what we want is a blog list. So we'll drag and drop that in. And before we actually change the settings, we need to add a one column foundation stack. And drop the blog list inside of there. Then, in the same way that we set up the articles page, what we want to do is add some blog details to the list. So things like the title, and perhaps the summary, and a read more link, or a read more button, like so. Okay, so all I'm doing here is setting up the display of the search results, and you can do this in any way you like. You could style it differently. You could add any of these details to the results page. But for now, I'm going to leave it like that with just the title, summary, and a read more button. Next, what we need to do is set up a search input box and link that to this search results page. So to do that, we'll go into the site styles partial, and we're going to add the search box into the top bar. So in here, we're going to go to the settings for this stack, and we're going to go down to the bottom of the settings and set up a drop zone. So here we're going to say, instead of hiding it, we're going to say drop zone, and the alignment will be right. Then what we're going to do is add a drop zone section by clicking on the plus button, and then we're going to drag and drop in a blog filter stack. So the Total CMS content stacks. Drag the blog filter into the drop zone, and the first thing we need to do is change the CMS ID to be articles. Now obviously we need this to match the CMS ID that we've used previously, so we'll enter articles here. And then we need to enter the blog list URL. So this is where we are going to be listing the posts for this filter, and that's going to be the search page that we just set up. So we'll go to page and select search and set the link. And then what we want to do inside of the blog filter stack is add a blog search, like so. So that will give us a search input box, and that's pretty much all we need to do inside of here for now. So we'll come back out of there, and let's preview that in the browser. So press Command P. And here we can see we have that search box in the navigation bar on the top right. Now currently it's saying no post found, and that's because we've gone to /search, but we haven't searched for anything. So let's go to the home page and check that the posts are still being listed, and they are. And let's search for something, let's say dinner, and we'll press return and search for that. And that's returning no post found. Okay, so I think I know what that is. If we go back to RapidWeaver, and on the search page, if we go to the blog list, I forgot to set up our CMS ID. So this is using the wrong ID. We need to enter articles into here as well. Okay, let's go back to Safari and see if that's working now. Yeah, there we go. Now when we've searched for dinner, we're getting all the posts that match that search result. And as you can see, we get the flexibility again of Total CMS, where we can lay out our content in any way. So for this search results page, we just have a plain text listing, could we say, without the images. So the title, summary, and a read more link. However, on the articles, we have set up a more styled list for our pages. We've set up a more styled list for our posts with the blog post image there and the date and things like that. So as I say, this is the power of Total CMS. You can set up all of your pages and make them look however you want. And to demonstrate that further, let's go back to RapidWeaver, and on the search page, if we go to the one column foundation, what we could do is set a max width to be a custom max width, say 500 pixels. We could go with that. And then on the read more button, we could set the size to be tiny, and we could set this to be the success, for example. And we'll say read this post, just as an example to show you how we can style this differently. And also on the blog list, what we could set up is a border on the bottom. So border size on the bottom 2 pixels, and we'll set the color to be maybe 5% black. And finally, on the one column foundation, I just want to add some padding to the top and bottom, so we'll set that to be 5 rems. And we'll go back and preview that one in Safari. And there we can see we get the blog post lists there. It's a little bit thin, so perhaps we'll want to widen that in just a second. But as you can see, we now have the success button, and it's styled a little bit nicely with these dividers as well. But let's fix up the width before we publish this to the live server. So on one column foundation, we'll go to the max width. Let's set this to 780, something like that. And we'll publish that up to the server. And once that's done, if we go back to Safari, and we'll close out these local previews and go to our rapidweaverblog.com domain, you'll see we now have the search box in the menu bar there. And let's put in something like buffet. And there you can see we get all the posts that match that search term, and we can read it there. Okay, so that's how you add search to your Total CMS blog.